Hello once again, and welcome to another episode of I'm Not Okay initiative that is run through Lifted Hearts Africa. I just want us to discuss today about interpreting life events. In our previous video, we talked about taking charge of our thoughts. And interpreting life events, is also connected to our thoughts. When an event, whether positive or negative, happens in our lives, there's the meaning we attach to it. And there's the reality. There's our reality that we get from the way we interpret the happenings or the events that take place in our life. For example, when a child is small, they look at their mother, how their parents or their significant other, how they do things. And that's how they interpret life is. And that is how their brain develops, depending on what they saw from their significant other, whether their mother or their father. So I want you to know that when an event, if it's a negative event and it happens in our lives, how you interpret it is very important. The reality you attach to that is very important, because it says you to interpret similar events, other events, the same way. I'll give you an example. If you're a young person and you are dating, maybe the first relationship was a tough one and maybe it didn't go well, and someone ended up hurting you. How did you interpret that situation? How did you interpret that event? Because you can interpret it in a healthy way or in a way that is not healthy. For example, you can interpret it and tell your brain, because what you tell your brain is what your brain will believe, and it is what you will become part of your reality. So if you tell your brain that, okay, maybe it's because I'm not beautiful enough, maybe it's because I'm not good enough, that is how you interpret that breakup. It means in future relationships, you will always enter them with the mindset of, I'm not good enough, I'm not beautiful enough, so even this one will fail. When there's a mistake in your life, how do you interpret that mistake? Because if you interpret it in a way that is not healthy, you will always think that you can never do something right, you can never be perfect, you will always make mistakes. And that is very dangerous, because it paralyzes you. It causes you not to try new things. It causes you not to be yourself, because you have been defined by that reality. But you have to know that you are not your events. When a negative event happens in your life, it is okay that event happened, but you have to learn from it, grow up from it, let your capacity expand from that event, but not interpret it by allowing your brain to come into conclusions that are wrong. Because you will paralyze yourself and you will never try out new things, because you will always refer to the event that happened and say that maybe this one will happen like the previous one. Maybe this relationship will turn out to be the previous one. For example, this morning, I wanted to do some work, because most of the times I work from the house. And my little girl, who is 2 years old, she was screaming because she wanted me to stay there. And at first I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to hide. I'm going to put her down and then pretend I'm around, then hide and go to my bedroom and continue doing what I had to do. But then after some few minutes, she realized, because this 2-year-old, almost a 2-year-old, can interpret that my mother was here, but now she's no longer here. Obviously, she interpreted it in a certain way, and that made her to cry, calling my name. And then I got an idea that maybe let me go and explain to her. Even children can understand. Sometimes we think they cannot understand, but depending on their age, there is what they can understand. And especially when you use a language that is corresponding to their age. When you're speaking to a little baby or a little child, you're supposed to go to their level. So I went to her level and I explained to her, Mommy has to go and work. Mommy has to go and work. And then Mommy will get some money and buy you popcorn, because she loves popcorn. And she wasn't taking any of it, but I could see she's understanding. So I kept on explaining to her and told her, now you have to go to Auntie and take some porridge. And she was like, no, No, but I could see she's understanding. Eventually left her seated and went and started doing my things. And funny enough, she never cried. Why? Because I gave her an opportunity to interpret what was happening. Initially, when I just left and went, she couldn't understand. She couldn't interpret what just happened. Sometimes when you keep on doing that, she might eventually say, oh, this is what happens to the people that are close to me, the people that I love. I never understand what is going on with their life. 1 minute they're here, another minute they're not there. But when you give her an opportunity, even if she's gonna cry, she will cry with the understanding that mommy explained to me that she's going to do some work. And so let's not think that children do not understand. And that is why it's very important to allow our children, to give them a space, to give them an environment that will allow them to attach meaning to events. Because for them, they are not like us. Their brains are not developed completely and they cannot process events. And this is to all parents, even me included, because we are always learning that our children need an environment. Let's not assume that they do not think. Let's not assume that they do not feel anything. We should know that they also interpret things and they might interpret events in the wrong way. And what will happen when they grow up, they will not differentiate between the reality and things which are not reality. Especially a child who grows up in an abusive environment. You might find them ending up maybe in abusive relationships or themselves being abusive. Why? Because the meaning they attached to them seeing their parents being in an abusive relationship was a certain reality they attached that. And now they cannot differentiate between what is real and what is not real. It's important to make sure we provide the right environment for them. And even for us, to make sure we are not interpreting the things that are happening in our life in a negative manner. Because when you interpret it in a healthy way, later in life, when the same event happens, you will be strong enough to know that, this event was nearly the same as the last one and I overcame it. So you are able to have the strength and the power to overcome. But when you allowed the wrong interpretation, it means you will not have the strength and the capacity to overcome a similar happening. But when you interpret it in the right way, you grow, your capacity grows, your thinking grows, and you are able even to undertake bigger challenges. That is it for today. Shalom and God bless you.